Good afternoon, class. I thought I'd give a really brief little lecture video here for week 10. I know it's Thursday. We're getting really close to the end of our semester, and we really don't have too much um, things to go over. Just kind of remember that the peer review for the research paper, some of y'all have already turned, or at least uploaded your draft. Remember your grade. You get two sort of grades with that. You upload your draft. Hopefully, a peer will come along and read your particular draft and then answer those particular questions that are left for the actual peer review assignment. That's where your other 50% of your grade comes in. Um, Really, it's one of those things that I'm not, 100% looking for correctness. If you upload your draft, if you, read one of your peers' drafts and answer a good bit of those questions as much as possible, because that's really going to depend on um, how many pages your particular peer has, or whatever. If you download a paper and the paper needed to be about 6 to 8 pages and there's only 4 pages there, well, you're probably not going to be able to really answer all those questions because your particular peer doesn't have a completed rough draft. So that's why it's always important to sort of have a good completed rough draft so you can get, a lot of constructive feedback based on your partner's reading of your draft. And of course, between now and Sunday, when the actual final draft is due, there is a Dropbox in the Week 10 folder. It should be down in the probably the last thing that you see. It will say research paper Dropbox, and I will show you where that's here momentarily. I will try to go in and also give feedback to some of these as much as I can with the time that we have. You can also use tutor.com, which I will show you again where you can find that. Let me go ahead and share the page here. Hold on just 1 second. Um, so you should be able to right now see what I have for week 10. This is, of course, where the discussion board is for your peer review. This is the actual document. I pull this up just to show you how that looks as well. Again, some of y'all have actually um, uploaded your draft and you're still kind of waiting on other people to upload theirs so you can kind of go back and read their draft and then sort of come through and answer as many of these questions as you can. Again, it looks fairly lengthy, and being that it is a research paper, you should expect it to be this peer review sheet to be fairly lengthier than the previous ones we've had over the semester, just because this is a major assignment. It deals with research. It's a little bit longer than some of the previous essays that you had to do leading up to really these last few weeks. And again, you want to answer as many of these as you can. Um, if somebody has a full completed draft, they have 7 pages, 6 pages, 8 pages, something of that nature, you should be able to go through and answer a good bit of these. A sentence or two should be suffice. You don't have to sit here and act like that you have to create a paragraph or give novel answers, because you won't have the time to do that really, unless you just want to. Um, because today is the 25th, so on the 28th, this thing is due, the final draft of it. So I'm hoping you'll be able to take the feedback that your peer gives you, that I give you, and if you go over here where it says online tutoring, that's where you're going to find tutor.com. I would definitely send a draft to them I would probably do it earlier rather than later, meaning maybe today, maybe Friday. I wouldn't try to send them something really late Sunday because you may or may not get it back in time for you to do a lot of the revisions that you may need to do before you have to submit the final draft. So that's sort of the deal for today as it relates to the peer review. And if you click on here, as you can tell, there's already several folks. I did look at one earlier, a couple days ago. So you should be able to go back in and see what I posted, but I also provided a feedback um, document. It's basically your essay. If you download it, you will see comments that I've put in the margins of your particular paper. They should be on the right-hand side. You're probably going to have to create a thread first to get started, uploading your particular paper, that type deal. There's several here that I will go back and try to read today, tomorrow. I'm hoping to have a good bit of them done by Saturday just because, um, you know, being within a 24-hour period, it could be kind of difficult as it relates to the feedback for you to actually read it, digest it, and then sort of do a revision of your paper. That's why I sort of open up this peer review um, usually a week ahead of time or within that week. So if you had time earlier in the week, let's say Monday or Tuesday, to get something in, that's always better for me as it relates, because I know sometimes as it gets later in the week, that's when most folks start to really come online and look at this stuff. Because I do realize y'all do work, you do have other classes, you do have a life like we all do outside of school. But the problem with waiting until the day that something is due, like a peer review, it really makes it kind of difficult for some folks, and including me, to be able to turn around and give really good, thorough feedback, especially since today's Thursday, it's due by 11:59 at night. That really gives Friday, Saturday, um, which I can get a good bit of it done, but still, um, I would like to, if you had something turned in Tuesday or Wednesday, that would give me a really good bit of time that I can really zone in and give you a lot of good feedback. So be on the outlook for that. I will try to get back as many um, rough drafts as I can. Um, Again, I would probably utilize tutor.com just in case I'm not able to give you the feedback before um, midnight on Saturday. The other thing I would do is go back and definitely look at how the site stuff. We talked a little bit about it in the previous weeks, previous videos. Um, there's been videos in your weekly folder, how to do summaries, how to do paraphrasing, how to do in-text citation using MLA 9. Keep in mind, we're using MLA 9. We're not using APA 7 or Chicago or any other style. There's some information here about the works cited page. But again, if you're using a works cited generator that's built, specifically for MLA 9, it will sort of put all your sources in order for you alphabetically by author's last name. That's where some folks were having some issues with the annotated bib as it came to citations. Their citations either wasn't in the proper MLA order, format, and that's why some of the points were lost there. So as you can tell here, this is your Dropbox. You click on it. Basically, it's just like any other Dropbox that you had to do for me in the past. be wary. I sent out an email about using AI and plagiarism. In last week's folder, there was some information about the 10 types of plagiarism. You should still be able to access that in week 9. Right here, I would definitely look at that. This is another video that deals with quoting, paraphrasing, the summary that hopefully you had a chance to look at. I also put up some stuff about logical fallacies to avoid in writing in general. And I know this list is sort of extensive, but you want to be careful about, creating these, especially when you're writing research papers, if it's something, persuasive or argumentative, or something, informative. I also give some rhetorical appeals as it relates to persuasion, but this is stuff that you should be able to do it pretty much in any essay. Logos, ethos, pathos. Politicians were definitely in that year of election time, as most of you know, if you've been following the news and keeping up with some of the debates. Anything that deals with advertising, anything that deals with political, anything that deals with verbal, writing, pictures, art, there's going to be some sort of a deal that you're using these 3 rhetorical appeals: logos, ethos, and pathos. So you want to kind of keep that in mind while you're drafting and then finalizing your research paper. You've been doing this probably all along and just haven't realized it when you're writing your narrative, when you're writing your descriptive paper, when you did your process analysis, the definition paper. So this is something you can kind of go back and look at if need be. And let's see if there's anything else. I think that might be really it. I mean, we're coming really down to the last few days. As I said in previous emails, since we did the Respondus event for the midterm essay, remember that was essay 4, that definition essay. We don't have to do another Respondus again because we only really have to do one event per semester. So we did that, and being that it is the summer and it is sort of condensed time-wise, your last assignment will be the final draft of your research paper, the one that's due this Sunday, the 28th of July. So you won't necessarily have a final exam for this particular course. The research paper sort of is your final big project. So kind of keep that in mind heading into, next week. Sunday would be sort of our last day then. And it has been a pleasure, to work with everybody this semester. I know summer, like I said, it's kind of tight. I don't know if your advisors kind of informed you that back in May or April, whenever you signed up, that summer semester are only 10 weeks long instead of a full, like 15 weeks that you will get in the fall and then also in the spring. But it has been a pleasure to work with everybody. I hope everybody has learned a good bit from this particular course. I hope they will take what they learn and apply it to other courses, because I'm sure before you graduate, you're probably going to have to write another paper, maybe another research paper. If you're planning on transferring to another college for, 4-year degree or higher, you're definitely going to be writing more when you get into the 4-year university colleges, whether you stay in Georgia, whether they're public, private, or if you go out of state. That's just usually the name of the game. The higher you move up in your educational ladder, the less you're going to have of quizzes and tests, and it's going to be more writing activities exercises that is really going to sort of determine your grade for that particular course, depending on your major, obviously. Um, but it has been a pleasure. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody's staying healthy because I know about this time, this is where sometimes those summer colds start to creep up because, we're kind of stressed out. We might be burning the candle at both ends, as they say. Flu's going around. I had flu B um, back at the beginning of July, so that sort of knocked out my summer break. Wasn't able to go to Myrtle Beach or anything like that as I had planned with my family because I was sick with flu B. 102, 103, 104 fevers for a couple days are just, they're no fun. And of course, COVID is still showing its butt out there. So just try to take care of yourself, regroup, um, take everything a little bit, at a time. If you, for this particular project, for the research paper, if you did a little bit each day or a little bit each week, I'm hoping that you're not having to rush here to sort of come up with some kind of a rough draft deal for tonight and then really having to rush the next 3 or 4 days to get the final draft. Because that will take up a good bit of your time. It will cause a lot of unnecessary stress if, when otherwise you could have avoided it had you worked a little bit each time over the last couple of weeks this month. Um, the other thing is, I usually tell this to all my students at the end of the semester. If there's anything that I can do for you moving forward as it relates to a reference, if you need me for a reference, some kind of reference letter, if you're trying to apply for a job, something of that nature, um, my email and phone number, office phone, will be the same. Um, you can email me, you can contact me, you can say, hey, can you put in a good word for me? Try to give me a couple of days advance notice though, because in the fall it's going to be kind of crazy for everybody, I'm sure. It will be a full, basically about 4 months, and I will have more classes than I did for the summer. So my plate's going to be pretty full, and they're doing, a couple of other things that we're having to kind of keep up with as it relates to the new Blackboard that's going to be coming out um, starting in the spring. So, doing a lot of different, excuse me, side projects and trying to get over this cough that's sort of lingering with with flu a little bit. But otherwise, I'm doing fairly well. And again, even if you have another class, let's say in the fall that you're having to do some writing on, if you want me to look at a draft, please email me. I have no problem with that as long as you give me a couple days um, ahead of time notice, kind of let me know what you're trying to do or what you need to do as it relates to the assignment, and give me sort of a due date that when it's due. So, I mean, if something's due on a Monday night, I wouldn't send it to me, Monday at 5 o'clock before I'm fixing to leave, because chances are that's going to be kind of a hard pressed thing for me to get back to you, especially with the constructive criticism that you would need to do really well on that particular assignment. But if you have something due that let's say you're taking another online class, something's not due until Sunday. If you send me an email and say, hey, can you kind of look over this for me and make sure I'm going on the right track? If you send me something like Tuesday or Wednesday, that will give me enough time to be able to read it, digest really what you need, and then send you back my feedback so you can kind of get the best possible grade on that particular assignment. Again, it's optional. You don't have to do that. But I'm just throwing that out there in case you want to take advantage of that. Same thing with the, if you need a reference or a reference letter or something of that nature, I will be happy to do my best to provide that for you as well. Um, Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it for this particular part of the lectures. One of the um, probably shorter lectures that we've had for a while. But I wanted to give you enough time to really work on your draft and really finalize it for this particular Sunday. So far, nobody's really, besides the peer review stuff, I haven't seen any drafts outside of that early on. So I'm assuming everybody knows what they're doing. Um, there's a sample paper in your week 10 folder that's really good. It's about the same length that yours needs to be, about 8 pages. If you pull that up and kind of go through that, I know it's a different topic than what most of y'all are probably doing it on, but if you pay attention to the writing and the margins and stuff, it will sort of guide you through each sort of section of the research paper that you might want to use sort of as a checkpoint as you go from drafting to revising to actually producing a final product. And I look forward to reading all of these final drafts and these rough drafts um, as the days move forward. And as I said in the previous email, the college is going to want grades from all instructors by 6 p.m. on Monday, August 5th. Um, I hope to have a good bit of these final drafts graded by then, but definitely by 6 p.m. on the 5th, everybody's grade will be submitted to the college. And like I said, whatever Blackboard shows as your weighted total grade after 6 o'clock on the 5th, if not before, because if I get everything done before, I will send out an email and say, hey, your grades are, I graded everything. Everything's um, updated in Blackboard. I will let you know. Sometimes after um, the last final exam, the college will sort of block access for students for whatever reason to go back in to check their grades, and I kind of hate that. Um, that's nothing on my end. That's really nothing on your end. That's something that the distance ed sort of puts up there. So if you try to go on after the 1st of August and it says you're no longer enrolled in the course or whatever the case may be, it's basically they sort of closed it down because it was it's pretty much the semester's over. That's the reason why. So if you want to email me and basically ask, hey, what did I make on the last paper? What's my grade? I don't mind, if I have it graded and everything, I will shoot you an email back and tell you what you made on the research paper and as a official semester grade for the summer. All right. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a good weekend. I hope it's restful. I hope the semester is ending well, not just for in this class, but for other classes and in general. Um, we're getting ready for fall semester, which will start on August 19th. And that's sort of the other thing I was going to suggest is if you plan on coming back to um, Coastal Pines in the fall and you haven't met with your advisor, I would go ahead and kind of do that definitely before August 19th. Um, I would probably try, as much as you can, maybe next week if you haven't already, meet with your advisor so you can go ahead and sign up for classes. Really, that reason is you may need a class that they only offer one time a year, and it could be the fall. And if nobody else has sort of signed up for it, it's going to show, zero enrollment. So they may drop it, which that means that's kind of bad news for you because then you have to wait a whole another 12 months to be able to take that, which will kind of delay your graduation. The other thing is it could be a class that you really need, and the cap off is 25. And when you look on there, there's 28 students. 3 of them are on the waiting list, and now you're number 4. So if it gets overcrowded, you can still get kind of shut out, especially if nobody, drops for whatever on that first day or that second day or whatever the case may be. Um, the other thing that you want to kind of keep in mind, the first week there's usually an add drop date where you can add a class or drop a class. But sometimes that comes at a penalty where you have to pay a little extra because it is that first week of the semester. So if you don't want to spend more money than you're planning on, and the reason why I say that because the college tuition, I think pretty much throughout the state of Georgia, is supposed to increase this fall. So whatever you paid over the summer, spring, or last fall is probably going to be a little bit more um, this coming fall. So kind of keeps that in mind. The other thing is, if you're getting financial aid, FAFSA forms, hopefully you made sure all that stuff is up to date, and the register and the financial aid people here at the college have received all that information um, ahead of time. I would, definitely double check with them to make sure they do have everything, so they didn't lose anything, or you need to have something there that is not there. You didn't fill out a particular section or something of that nature, because you don't want to be, come up here the week of the 19th of August and expecting, hey, everything is in. I'm going to get some financial aid money here in a couple weeks. And they kind of tell you the second day, oh, well, your paperwork wasn't all completed, or you needed this and that wasn't there. Or we kind of lost this. That's something you just never want to hear, especially if you're counting on that financial aid money, which a lot of us do. I was, once a student too, just like you, and did count on that financial aid money. It helped get through the semester. It helps with bills. It helps with food, especially with everything going up right now. You definitely don't want to be sort of shut out on that money, um, especially if you're working limited hours as it is, or you don't want to be in a position where you have to, work more hours to sort of supplement what you would get in with that financial aid, but because of the paperwork situation, you're not going to get that now. So just be mindful of that. And I hope, again, everybody has a good rest of your week. I hope everybody finishes strong next week, especially if you're having finals and other classes. Good luck on those. And just, good luck overall, and have a, great, wonderful rest of your summer. And, I'm here to help if you need any help as we move forward in the future here. And good luck with the research paper. And I will see everybody soon. Have a good one.